Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Oklahoma Venture Forum podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Golding. I'm joined today by Sam DuRegger, who is the owner, inventor, founder of Barista Bot, which is going to be one of our pitch participants for April 10th for the Oklahoma City pitch presentation. We did this in Tulsa in March. We're doing this in Oklahoma City in April. We're going to have 5 pitches. Along with Barista Bot, we're going to have Sugar Security, Claim Rev, FlexiH, and Shelter Share. But today we're going to talk to Sam about Barista Bot. Good morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So let everyone know what Barista Bot is.
Okay, so without going into the full technical detail and pitch, right? I think the simple answer is Barista Bot is order ahead without the app. It's order ahead over text messages. We want you to text your order like you text your friend to any of your favorite coffee shops in Oklahoma City and nationally.
Sounds hopefully simple and convenient.
Yes, very simple, very convenient, and I think ultimately we've seen from an app standpoint. Now I've been in app development since 2008, so I've made my living on building apps.
So tons of experience.
I feel like over the last maybe 2 to 3 years, we've had a ton of app fatigue.
I agree.
You know, everyone has an app.
Right.
Now, are you going to download an app for every restaurant you visit, over the next...
And scroll through, you're trying to find it, right?
Right. And so ultimately, your home screen is going to be incredibly cluttered.
Right.
Or, if you're in technology, it seems like more technologists, their home screens are incredibly organized. And
I'm more on the cluttered side.
Yes.
I try to be organized, but I end up downloading so many apps, and I then forget almost what did I have? Why do I have this?
I do the same thing, and I hide them away,
Yeah.
and then I just have the ones I use. And I think that ultimately, since 2008, when the iPhone came out, started developing on that, the bottom row has always been the same. That bottom dock, right. You got messaging, you got phone, you get your calendar, and something else.
Maybe email.
Right? Maybe email, whatever is your most used apps. Right. And I think that ultimately messaging apps have lived long time in that dock and will continue to do so. That's where people are, and we want to meet them where they are. And I think coffee shops are hungry for something like this because having an app that's tied to your POS or your point of sale that ties into your menu, if you're paying $75 to $100 per month for that app, you want orders to come through it.
Sure.
But if orders aren't coming through it because it's inconvenient, then you're not really winning.
It's just a waste of money.
Exactly. And so we're trying to sell to coffee shops this new way to order, and we're using a middleware from the POS, the menu at the point of sale, to that text message that's coming through. Our middleware does some translations, ties that menu item to the price, and they can complete payment all the way through text. And so we're up and running in one store in Oklahoma City at Tomorrow Coffee, and couldn't be more excited to have 46 participants in that pilot right now, telling us what we're messing up and what we're getting right, and then ultimately trying to hone in a product that we can sell to other coffee shops.
So you mentioned you've been doing app development for quite a while. So let's get into your background so we can understand how Barista Bot has come to be.
Sure. So I think innovation happens at in the intersection. I'm going to start that one over.
No worries. Yeah, you could do that.
And you can keep that rolling. But innovation happens at the intersection of our experience.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately, as I look at my background, app development since 2008, was part of the YouVersion Bible app team.
Okay.
And so one of the first app development teams here in Oklahoma City, really pursuing one of the first apps on iOS, Android, competing with Twitter and some of those others that were there at the beginning. And that was a really monumental moment, not only for us as a team, but for Oklahoma City to be on the map and to say, this is an app that comes from Oklahoma City. And over the years, I've had a chance to work at Sonic Drive-In. I led their order ahead development and project, and we ended up delivering order ahead to 3,600 stores. It was an omni-channel experience, so it had a mobile app, it had web, it had the kiosks that you drive up to, and it had a full tie-in. So when you logged into the kiosk, your face showed up. Hey, welcome, Kyle, to Sonic. Can we get you that tater tots or corn dog? Whatever your favorite is.
Right.
And so my experience in really developing full-scale order ahead on apps and web kind of led to this experience with the coffee shops and how we could best fit in this little beachhead.
Right.
That we're going after a target market that is smaller on the side of coffee shops, but ultimately, as you start thinking about the larger quick service restaurant market. can we then get into those larger markets?
So would you say right now you're obviously you're just using it in one location, so you're really in kind of MVP sort of prove out stage?
Yeah, pilot stage. The technology is scalable, right? So ultimately, if we solve for one store, we should be able to solve for most coffee shops.
To a point, though, because you know more than I do, but I have a little bit of restaurant experience. That the point of sale system market out there, there's hundreds of options, and some of them are super technically forward, and some of them are stuck in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
So how there's going to be some point in time where there's like you can do certain things and not other things. I would think
you've hit one of our risks, right? Okay. One of the barriers to entry is the POS point of sale market, right? And so we're going after the ones that are more advanced, that have open APIs that we can develop to. Right. And this is where it gets a little technical, but ultimately, I'm hoping that the audience can swim a little bit and maybe tread water.
I think so. The OVFB audience is very sophisticated.
Okay. And so, ultimately, we are going to we've gone after Square POS, which one is the largest point of sale systems on the market. Really, coffee shops have embraced that.
That makes sense.
And then you have Heartland POS. It's here in town.
Right.
And they introduced a new competitor to Square. It looks beautiful. It's sleek. It has all the open APIs that we can develop to. Then you have Clover, which is more of an Android operating system. And then you have others that we can, Shopify is another one you can build a plug into. And so you have these ones that are open and available. Really, the closed garden experience is going to be the larger quick service restaurant POS systems, Micros, Infor, that I helped develop to when I was at Sonic. Those are complex. Those are complicated. Right. So we want to build some momentum in our target markets and then see if we can gather enough customer momentum to then get into the larger QSRs.
But you also have not just the technology, but the behavior of the human beings, right? And in the restaurant industry, that can be some of the hardest things to change. They really like how they do things or how their point of system works, et cetera. So what are you seeing? What feedback are you getting there as to how a coffee shop or even a small restaurant can incorporate this technology into what they're already doing?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things we had to learn when we first started this project 4 years ago. We just had a text message bot that would take your order. And then the barista would read that order and they would put it into the point of sale and it'd be a manual process from there. And
which they wouldn't appreciate.
They know it's just more work, right?
They hate that.
We want Barista Bot to be a valued member of the team. And so ultimately we had to include payment. We had to then build it on the order head rails. So it's a very similar experience to what they experience when they're getting an order head from their app or from their website. And so it comes in on those rails. The only difference in the receipt, it says Barista Bot at the bottom below their name instead of mobile order. And so for them, it's seamless. And it really is a valued member of the team. It takes the order, it takes the payment, and then that barista can really focus on creating quality drinks and serving their customer. I think the complication, though, from a behavior standpoint, not only from the baristas, is also to the customer, too. Are they going to be the ones that change their behavior and order via text?
Right.
And we're really trying to hit a loyalty play, right? It's a loyal customer that comes in once a week. We want to increase their frequency. We want to get them to come in twice a week.
Or in and out faster, or get the payment done, or some other efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. I think craft coffee shops in particular are known for quality drinks, but you got a little time.
It's a little slower process, sure.
You're not pumping out drinks like a Starbucks.
Right. And you can't have high quality and the fastest speeds, right? So you got to find ways to make that up.
Exactly. So we are trying to solve a customer problem as well. And that problem is I've got time this morning, but I don't have 10 minutes, but I have 5 minutes. Can I order via the app or via the text message bot and get that order in faster? And I think the loyalty play that we're also adding into it is we want to make it fun. So after you've ordered your first time, that order can be created into a shortcut. You can add an emoji to it. So now, the next time you order, you're just texting that emoji.
Oh.
And that emoji hits the POS through our middleware, comes back with the price and the item, and you just say, yes, that sounds good. So you're ordering in 2 text messages, and one of those is an emoji. And I think that's pretty fun as well.
So less keystrokes, more familiarity, loyalty. These are all good things.
Yes.
Right? So you're also learning a lot about the users.
Right.
And so what are your future thoughts as to what that information could do for Barista Bot, but also could do for anyone else who you do business with?
Yeah, I think we're collecting a lot of data.
Right.
And we're collecting a lot of behavior data, ordering data. And one of the things about AI that I love is, I think we're at this precipice where it is something of a novelty, generative AI and what it does. It can write your emails, it can write your newsletters. Now, it can also do a lot more. I just upgraded to 4.0, and to give you a little example of how it helps you, how as you can take somebody who's an expert in something and it becomes your lab assistant. I built a React native app, or a React app, not React native, a React app for our new website in a matter of 2 weeks in the margins of my full-time job, family, all because I had this great assistant called ChatGPT 4.0 that allowed me to learn React and build a website and release it in a 2-week time period. And you can see that baristabot.app. It's live now. We launched it last weekend. And so, to get back to your question on what are we doing, what are we building, it's really that middleware that becomes a tactical implementation of generative AI. It's saying, okay, generative AI is cool, but if we're not utilizing it to solve tactical problems, then it's just a novelty. But if we're utilizing it to really look at menu, then we become the middleware for menu.
Right.
The middleware to AI for menu. Now, we start with coffee shops, but who's to say we can't go into other ice cream shops, other shops with a more complex menu, then ultimately larger QSRs with regional menu differences, tax differences, and so forth. The complexity is there, but with AI as your assistant, you can really solve complex problems.
So you have an understanding of what this can be, and you're following the path, right? Like any good startup, right? Following the path of opportunity. So I'm going to ask this in two parts so that I can let you do it in whichever order you feel good about. But what's next? Yeah. What are you looking for right now as you pitch in April for OVF and for everyone in the room or listening to this podcast? And then what is that 5 and 10 year vision? Sure. And those things can change, but what right now are you thinking is the 5 and 10 year look for this? So what are we doing first, and then what are we doing eventually?
So first, really learning at that one shop at Tomorrow Coffee. That's the biggest deal. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a large launch. We're going to onboard a lot more users. We've been kind of closed on how many users we wanted. We've done some updates on the platform. We're ready to go now. So we're going to open that up, get over 100 users, 200 users in the platform, see how it operates. I think that's the near term. Now, what we're really trying to do is raise another $200,000 to $250,000 to implement into another POS system.
Okay.
And make it a more robust platform to support multiple locations. Tomorrow Coffee just has one location. One of the things that we need to solve for is a coffee shop like maybe Clarity Coffee with 2 locations.
Right.
And so ultimately that's a obstacle that's in the near term that we need to solve for. And then creating our MyBaristaBot.app, which is a place that the customer comes to log in, controls their payment, controls what locations they're going to be ordering from, their favorites, their shortcuts. Those are the next steps that we have as a business to really solve. And $250,000 is what we're looking for right now, more of a seed round of financing. Long term, we really would need a larger round, 1.5 million, 2 million to get to the QSR fast casual restaurant space. And I think that ultimately is in our near term horizon. If we can solve for our beachhead and really prove out that coffee shops want and need this, then I would foresee us trying to raise that first round in August, beginning late 2024, early 2025.
That makes sense.
And 5 to 10 year, gosh,
the sky's the limit, right?
AI is. I really think that we can't say what 20 years from now is going to be.
Sure, I agree with that.
And I think that we may have seen this in the previous past when the iPhone came out, where it was like this huge change in our behavior.
Right.
And I think AI is part of that. And I'm not necessarily, on the AI train where I'm saying it's going to solve all of our problems, or on the other side, it's going to,
it's going to kill us all,
right? I think that there's always narratives that you write into your story.
Sure.
I think how we are using AI over the next 5 years, there should be a lot more. I'm going to say it in a different way. I used the lab assistant before, but there's going to be a lot more complex problems that we can use AI for, generative AI in particular, and solve for in a way that would take a manual process, 5 people for 2 years to do. So, one of the interesting problems that we have right now is how do we match logos to stores and POS transactions, or how do we do all these things? Well, you can do it manually, or you can train a bot to do it.
Teach the machine to do it for you.
And I think that machine learning AI piece is going to be the piece that really charges ahead. So for us, that means, again, we want to be the middleware for menu. And that goes from our small coffee shop to the large QSR on every street corner around the U.S.
And the scale of some of those larger QSRs are massive.
Massive.
Absolutely massive, yeah.
Especially with the, you've seen a lot of the brands start purchasing. So Inspire Brands bought Sonic and Jimmy John's and Buffalo Wild Wings, and you have Wendy's Group, and you have, Yum Brands out of Texas that are just buying all the QSRs. And so if you can get into one of those and start solving a tactical problem at one of their stores, then ultimately, the next should be an easy domino to fall. Pizza has got to be one that's on our list. I mean, I think it's a standard menu. The loyalty play that's there.
Yes.
You have people ordering the same thing, every Friday night, because their kid, doesn't want mushrooms on their pepperoni.
They like only what they like, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just like your latte, you might have 2 to 3 different coffee drinks that you order, and we want to be the loyalty play that makes that easier.
It makes sense. And anything that utilizes technology but really feeds into the human interaction is a good idea.
Yeah, and it's got to be a little bit fun, right? Yeah. We want Barista Bot be like you're texting your friend. Yeah. And so ultimately, whatever emoji you add to your shortcut, that's a personalization. That's personal to you. And you can make that whatever you want it to be. My short Americano after lunch is a melty face emoji because I am dying, right? I need that short Americano. And so ultimately, it becomes something fun that increases the whimsy to your ordering experience.
And every business values repeat business and loyalty.
Absolutely.
Right, across the board.
Absolutely.
So this is fantastic. I can't wait for you to give your pitch on April 10th, along with everyone else that's pitching that day. If you are hearing this before April 10th, get in the room. Make sure that you get in the room, hear these 5 pitches, meet Sam, ask questions in the Q&A or afterwards, connect. He's going to be looking for funding soon, maybe an ongoing funding relationship. A lot of venture capital folks are always in the room for us with OVF, but everyone else, if you, for some reason, are hearing this after April 10th, there are ways to find, you just mentioned baristabot.app.
Yep.
Is a website, and of course ovf.org for all the OVF information. And if you're an OVF member, one of the perks of membership is Sam's contact information, and that pitch information is, you have access to that on the backside of ovf.org as a member. So remember, if you are a member, that's one of your benefits and perks. So again, April 10th, our Oklahoma City Pitch Day, we're going to have Barista Bot along with Shelter Share, FlexiH, Claim Rev, and Sugar Security. Do not miss it. Appreciate you coming on the podcast today, Sam, telling us about Barista Bot, and best of luck.
Thank you so much. Appreciate having me.